I think I'm a sorry business.
Right up in there. Yeah, saw the good. I saw the right there.
All right, you know subscribe. It goes live.
How's the mouth?
Did you back it up?
Only you.
All right. Early bird catch. Everybody knows that. I'm first one in here.
Hey, just so I want that.
Watch more. Already
No.
What is going to be the next
Talk
round?
to him like you're on
And you
Yeah, we
swallowed the leg. Man, it was good. It was worth the wait, you know?
Now, would it be hard? Hey, I'm not gonna lie. This man fucked up.
Hello.
Hello.
How hard be like? What you say every time you call me?
What's up, man?
What's that thing that you say every time you call me? He called me and like, hey, hold on, I'm busy. Hang up. Why you keep answering? I've been thinking he needs some. I might need some.
So you think how do something? Yeah. Squat five. Squat five. What you want? Hold on, we'll call y'all back on music right now. I think Willis blocked me for that. Willis be like this in the bed. Like, oh. Willis good. And then do you move your hands in your soul? Y'all need to stop being thugs in there, bro.
I thought I was tour done or something. One more sit down one day. If you want to act stupid, I'll get them out, man. I didn't do nothing.
Ready to go. Long weekend. Go, let's go, let's go.
Huh? If they use the monitor blood pressure, then no. Remember how I turned that? Yeah.
We can't use the monitor. We're doing.
No, I said, I was telling him, if you use the monitor blood pressure cuff, then we'll give it to you.
We were doing that. She's giving me her.
What's my job?
I read it, man.
It's right here. It's just starting. Here's the button. Like
I'll let you go back.
Well, I never know something.
Okay. Everybody in place. Alden, you wait. You ready for this?
We'll get ready on it.
All right. All right, let's do it then. All right, let's go.
Oh, you're the lady. All right, you're responding to the local apartment structure right across the street over here for a 25-year-old female complaining of pain in her lower abdomen.
Pain in the lower abdomen. Seat sick, walking in. Where is she?
She's sitting on the couch right now. It's a normal apartment. There's nothing to be concerned about.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Recruit Bloom with the County Fire Rescue Training Academy. How are you doing today?
Good.
You're good. So I'm assuming that she's talking, looking at her breathing. She seems to be having adequate chest rise. How's her circulation look?
Circulation's good.
Circulation's good. Okay,
Yes.
so what's the reason for the call today?
I'm just having a lot of pain in my lower abs.
Is it both quadrants of the abdomen? Where is it?
Yeah, just the lower part of my stomach.
Lower part.
Freaking 16.
So I got a closer.
Does it hurt when I touch the upper part?
No.
Does it hurt when I touch the bottom part?
Yeah.
Just breathing really. Call for ALS. Or to transport blood pressure. Yeah, just go ahead and get blood pressure. So when did this start happening?
It just started happening a few hours ago.
Just happened a few hours ago. Is anything, is it anything you do make it worse, make it feel better?
I feel like if I sit up like I am
Push,
now, it's a
analyze,
little better.
connect,
If you sit up, it's a little better.
connect electrodes.
Or ALS.
About a 1 to 10, how bad is the pain?
It's an A.
About an 8.
Hey, listen.
When was the last time you had your menstrual cycle?
Yeah, I just got done with it.
You just got done with it today, yesterday,
I think it was just that.
yesterday. Does it radiate to the back or anything?
No.
Just only in the lower abdomen? And it just started happening today.
Yes.
Are you allergic to anything?
No.
You taking any medications?
No.
Has this ever happened to you before? Do you have any other type of
What's the blood pressure?
medical situations going on?
No, it's never happened.
Last time you ate?
I just had a peanut butter banana sandwich.
Just did? Okay.
What's the blood pressure?
Blood pressure is
135/90.
Were you doing anything when this happened? What were you doing when this happened, when it started?
I was just watching TV.
Just watching TV?
what's that swell to?
92.
Checking, open to make some notes.
Blood glucose?
94.
Go ahead. Oh, you called them already? Did you already tell them about the vitals?
No, I just-
Vitals.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much were you bleeding on your menstrual cycle?
Just normal amount.
Normal amount?
How many pads?
Just a normal amount of pads you went through?
Yep. The normal menstrual cycle, nothing out of the blue.
What's your normal? What's your normal?
And what's normal?
I mean, it's normal.
Is it like-
Yeah, it's normal. Yeah, normal. Yeah.
I don't know how.
I don't know how many. I don't know how you answer that in real life, bro. You're getting stuff like that.
Yeah, she said normal.
Well, going on. We don't know.
Oh, man, we didn't have to go there.
Yeah, we did have to go there.
Thanks, bro.
You said the pain hurt?
Blood pressure of 135/90. Pulse at 138. Respiration 16.
CO2 level is at 92. We have her on nasal cannula right now, and her blood glucose is around 94. We're expecting
Any bowel movements lately?
possible.
Anything irregular there?
No irregular bowel movement.
Abdomen.
Is there a smell when?
We all got that. We all understand the question. Is there?
Any smell? No bad smell?
I know where you're. Good. That was a good question.
Does it hurt more when we push it in or go out? No, just hurts to go in.
What do we see when we look at the pelvis?
You
It just look normal.
Normal, yeah.
Yeah, I think you're on it.
What's the spoke to now with the osteotherapy?
96. Oh, no, it's not.
How much does she weigh?
145. Boy, May's size girl.
Same
Small.
Did they say anything?
Do we have an update on the ALS unit in route?
Yeah, there's still about 15 minutes out. They gotta go to-
Is she's supposed to have these dilated pupils? Or one
Oh, yeah,
dilated?
I just checked it out.
You're not when it gets closer.
Self-conscious about it.
There is a BLS about 7 minutes away. You want to go like that?
Yeah, you can go ahead and cancel the ALS and send BLS about it.
And 4 BLS on the way.
I guess we'll go ahead and do a rapid assessment on her just to, check and see. Do I notice anything on her head?
No,
Anything on the neck? Nothing distended?
no.
Going down the chest? Anything? No signs of trauma or anything? Going down the legs? Arms? Nothing?
EMS good.
This wasn't working. This one don't ever do this again.
All right, King.
You make sure somebody brings things out.
All right, man, we just gonna leave you here because you.
Yeah, honestly, that's almost where this should go. So bring them in.
You're done now.
So the only, what do you think? What do you think it is? What's your, yeah, this is exactly, I mean, I hate to take that from y'all, but, and the only reason why I say it is because, there's one other thing that you could do if you want to. Kind of like what you said yesterday. I mean, I'm not gonna do anything with it, so why should I do it? But you can do one more treatment while you're waiting on the ambulance if you wanted to. Yeah. But I'm like you.
What was it?
Start an IV. But at the same time, Paul brought up a good point the other day. I think I forgot to mention it. So if you don't plan on giving them blue bolus, you don't plan on giving meds, then why do it? And he brings up a good point, honestly, especially for if this is your filter pressure PID, risk and consequences of an IV, right? So there is a small risk of sepsis anytime you start an IV or do something invasive. So I mean, you're going to do the same aseptic techniques as the hospital is going to do. So it's totally your call in the field if you want to start a line on that or not. Now, the book's probably gonna have somewhere in there where you start an IV on this, because this just seems like that's just the standard of care in most textbooks, probably even on registry. But I would challenge that standard of care on that issue. I don't have a plan to use this line. And this is a relatively minor situation. Yes, it can turn into something else later if not treated. But nonetheless, this patient does not need to see an emergency room physician in the next 30 minutes to an hour even, right? So there is, I believe it's probably a more aseptic technique inside the hospital. You're in a controlled environment, starting an IV as opposed to the field. So I could argue that all day, I think. So I'm talking realistically when you're in the field, that if you don't want to start an IV on that, you don't feel like it's needed, that's fine. Now, book wise, this is one of those times where I disagree sometimes with the actual treatment in the book. So explain the scenario for everybody, what they had, what they're walking to do. We already know CID, but explain it.
25-year-old female. She was on that.
Is there anything that they could have asked that would have brought the scenario more out where they would have known right away PID? Or did they ask all the appropriate questions for the scenario?
I think he did everything that would have been a normal question if
Right.
it was just a regular call. I mean, fever.
We never got a temp.
Yeah, you never got temp, so fever would have been a major symptom that we had.
It wouldn't have clearly outlined
Wouldn't have
PID
outlined
though,
it, but it would have helped.
because there's lots of abdominal things, gastritis has a fever sometimes.
And then I guess other than that, if you would have leaned, if you would have leaned more towards a
Discharge.
pregnancy issue
Well,
or
y'all
something.
actually asked about that with the smell.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe if you would
I would
have.
have, I would have assumed that if there was a discharge, it would have come up then.
Right.
Right.
Yep. So, yeah, so pretty much, I mean, could have narrowed it maybe down more to the pelvis vaginal area pain versus, your normal answer that you're gonna get from a normal patient, like the bottom of my stomach hurts type thing. Other than that, that's really it.
Luke, how'd it go? I mean, I know this,
I think it was good. I think that we're like having a ball here.
I do too. I think Hall either went to EMT school before, or he's come a long ways in the class. I haven't figured it out yet. So yeah, it was pretty good. Hall seemed to zero in on it really quick out of the PID thing. Evaluation committee.
I think I did really good. I know you talk about sometimes that gastro is kind of your weak point too. I think you did a really good job too of asking the perfect questions. Your team helped you out a lot. You're really good at delegating. I think something you did a really good job of is having a good mix of treating the symptoms and then also trying to figure out what it is too. If it is something you can figure out what it is, you want to treat it in the field appropriately.
Absolutely.
You also don't want to sit around and try to keep on figure out what it was. I think the only thing was kind of it took a little while to get oxygen on.
Yeah.
What's that? But besides that, I did a really good job.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bert. You guys did your ABCs first, and then once you found out, okay, this person's not about to die, like right now, now I can slow down and ask questions. So I like that you did that. And, I agree, man. Just the pulse ox was a little low. So that's really the only thing I could think of.
We'll stop right there while we're talking about that. So what was the pulse ox low for? Because in PID, they're normally going to have a normal pulse ox. So why did we paint a picture of a low pulse ox?
I threw a number up there, 92. Probably could have been a little higher.
Yeah, only because that was throwing me off too at the beginning was, that's a low pulse ox. I always said too, though, for me, I need more than one sign before I really clue in on something. She had good chest rise and fall. She seemed to be breathing well, talking in complete sentences. I would have asked some general appearance, what's her posture like? to rule out a respiratory thing. Because at that point in time, I would think either she's got fingernail polish on or there's a error with the false socks. That's kind of what I was thinking. That's why I was wondering too with your scenario. Was that something y'all were painting? Was okay, yeah, she's got fingernail polish on or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Way to go, Mace.
Ruby red.
Idiot.
And I think y'all really need to listen to Mace. He has something going here. So that was a good one, Mace.
Mace, can you give me the weight of the girl?
But so if you have a reason in your scenario to make something like that, that would be the reason why, right? To see if they discover that, right? But other than that, if the patient is meeting a certain condition, let's be good to our fellow classmates and let's make these signs line up. Unless you have a specific part of your scenario, because it's driving, that kind of stuff drives people crazy. Like when you're doing that, because they're thinking, okay, I'm missing something. The SAT's low, I'm missing something, right? That's what I would think. And so what am I missing? I'm waiting on the big whammy to come from the scenario. So, and that's just not pointed to y'all, it's pointed at all the scenarios.
Yeah, it was mainly at you, but yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't pointed at anybody, I meant anybody in particularly.
No, it's pointed at me.
Maybe she was panicked before we arrived.
No, it's fine.
That's exactly what I thought. Bloom walked in and
She was like,
she
oh.
stopped hyperventilating.
Heart started to beat.
Yeah.
And Nancy stopped Willis.
Yeah, Paul.
Mace just.
Right?
Hey, speaking of Willis, I don't want that to go unforgotten. You did a great job, man.
But sometimes,
That's
sometimes you just have to step back and take it. When somebody gets one like me inside.
Yeah, but I don't know what word I have.
I think everybody.
In your defense, they really didn't need anybody on that one.
What do you think?
Always nice and smooth. I like the teamwork.
That's classic answer.
Alden?
Yeah, it was nothing major.
Besides 6 liters of nasal cannula, everything went pretty well.
You're aggressive.
Try 8 next time.
Aggressively.
Sure. Yes, I think it went particularly well.
Try 6.
I won't ever forget that day. All right.
I miss them already.
There's a couple things that I seen in a simple scenario that I think we can learn from. So I liked how the ABCs were checked right away. He couldn't go for a radial pulse because you were checking it. That's fine. But he definitely cued in on the airway and the breathing. So these calls, sometimes you're going to get used to running these calls, and this will be 99th call that you're thinking is PID, and it's going to be something else. So that's why I don't get complacent. So every time you approach a patient, listen to see how they're talking, make sure they have good chest rise and fall, and check your pulse. That happened really quick on this. The other thing is, when you're assessing a female patient, a lot of times, they're going to say their stomach hurts when really they mean their pelvis. So a simple question you can ask is it above your belly button or below your belly button? And that seems to open that door. Oh yeah, it's below. As soon as you hear below the belly button, then okay, I'm dealing with a pelvic pain more than an abdominal pain. I liked the question about bowel movements, because we need to rule out that that we have we could have a bowel obstruction, but ruled out really quick with the question about bowel movements. I like the question about how heavy, what is your menstrual cycle, right? Because did that play a role? Was it extremely heavy? Are we dealing with something from a shock standpoint? Ruled out very quickly. I liked how we asked for a weight of the patient. And I liked how Hall said, I'm checking O2, I'm cracking it to listen for leaks. I don't know. It just kind of keeps the training aspect about it. Hey, I know that's on the checklist still, even though we're in real life type scenario. I'm just throwing it in there because it's good to do sometimes. So all of that I found to work really good. I liked how when Bloom palpate, I like everything about Bloom, but I liked especially how when he palpated the abdomen, he went to the opposite side to start with the palpation. He didn't go straight to the lower quadrant. He went to the upper quadrant. Okay, that was good too.
What's it like being pregnant?
Some of y'all just will never know. All right, so all of that said, I thought it was a good scenario. Medical control. Yeah, it's kind of lame right there. Nothing really going on. Oh, I also like the past two scenarios, how we've canceled the ALS unit and chose the BLS unit. This patient was a BLS unit all day long. And that freed up an ALS unit to go to a different call. Like that. I really like that. That's going to mean a lot to our system that's already strapped for ALS. So that's good. All right. Good job. So where are we at?
5 theater,
5 theater,
6 is med control,
6 is med control.
1 is writing,
1's riding,
2 is eval.
2's eval. Yep. It doesn't always come with a high fever, right? But they usually will have a fever, right? You could depend, you're not gonna be wrong for that, right? So this is what I would do. I would do check for orthostatic vital signs to see if they're dehydrated, right? And if your orthostatics are normal and there's no sign of like dehydration, then I wouldn't fluid bolus. The whole goal of fluid bolus is to improve perfusion. So if you have good perfusion, you don't have to do a bolus.
The other question is, you know how you asked the top of the
Bottom.
what is this?
Yeah, that's a good point, and that happens sometimes, but you kind of got to feel it out. You kind of got to feel it out. It just opens the door for a female patient to be able to start talking about health, right? It definitely could be confused pain with that. You never know. So if what I want to look at is the level of pain and anxiety. If I have a lot of anxiety and a lot of pain, then I'm going to start thinking about other more life-threatening acute symptoms, like bowel obstruction, or maybe gallbladder injury, appendicitis. But you get the drift. I mean, I'm thinking something more serious with pain level. So I think that goal, less pain level, less pain level, periods of pain comes and goes. I'm going to feel better about that PID diagnosis as opposed to something else. Thank you, man. Good question, though. Great question.